Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today, we're going to get right into the love outlook for Leo and a particular person in their life. So let's just jump right into it. Leo, how you're feeling? You're the King of Cups. Wow, Eight of Swords for your person. How do you feel about them? Nine of Wands. They feel Eight of Pentacles. All right. How do you feel about the relationship? Five of Swords. There's some turmoil there. And for them, Four of Cups, not accepting that cup of love. And what's your next move? Eight of Wands. And for them, Lover's energy. Nice. At the bottom of the deck, we have an Ace of Pentacles. So a whole new beginning, a physical beginning, right? A real beginning, material. Oh, we had the Fool right underneath. Ace of Pentacles indicates a whole new start, a physical start, maybe moving in, buying a house, moving, starting together, starting a real tangible life together. So that's at the bottom of the deck. So, Leo, I love reading for you guys. So let's just jump right into it. We have King of Cups and Eight of Swords. So, wow, you're on top right now, right? King of Cups energy, it's fire, right? It's fire of water. King of Cups can be grounded. He's the one who's kind of in charge when it comes to the love connection. He knows what's needed to secure a relationship, to support the relationship, to make sure that you have everything that you need, right? He feeds, nurtures, the relationship. And he's, it's not so much that he's in charge, but he knows what he wants. The King of Cups absolutely knows what he wants from a partner and from a connection. Now, your person is coming in with Eight of Swords. Listen, Eight of Swords can be a little bit of toxicity. Oftentimes this is someone who doesn't feel like they're given a choice. They feel like they're, not helpless, but maybe a little bit helpless, but unable to move, unable to speak, unable to make the right decisions for themselves because of everyone else around them, unable to see the signs, right? Unable to pick up on messages, not really in touch with their feelings in an open and expansive way. So let's go a little bit deeper. You know what you want, and they're kind of in a place where they're like, I know what I want, but I can't, right? Can sometimes be victim energy. Eight of Swords. Jupiter and Gemini, so it's a bit of a flip-flop in terms of being able to move. So wow, Temperance comes in for you. So you're working with it, right? This person that you're in a connection with, you're working with their inability to make a decision. World energy. World comes in for them. So they know what's going, they know they're at the right place. They know that everything is happening for a reason. But they still seem to be unable to think outside the box, unable to sort of commit to any particular decision. But more than anything, they're not really taking responsibility for it. This type of energy is someone who's kind of like, well, if you didn't put so much pressure on me, I'd be able to make the right choice. Right? It's always somebody else's fault. And this has something to do with where they're at in their lives right now. Meanwhile, you're exhibiting a lot of temperance. Temperance is the card for your sister sign, Sagittarius. So for you, you're kind of like, okay, I see what's going on here with that King of Cups. I see what's going on here. I know what I want. I know how this is going to go, but I'm going to, I'm going to be flexible. I'm going to work around this a little bit. So how do you guys feel about each other? Again, interesting for you. Nine of Wands, and for them, Eight of Pentacles. So it's been a bit of a trial and error with this person, right? It's been a bit of a difficult time. I think that you've had an uphill battle trying to get to some place of stability with this individual. You feel very much like you're battling with them in a way, even though it seems like that this is the right thing, that this is the relationship for you. But it just has been, it's been a battle. There's probably been a lot of arguments. And I think that you feel like the one who's really been not persecuted, but you're the one who's been blamed for a lot, right? You're the one who's come out of a lot of this with a lot of bumps, a lot of bruises. For them, Eight of Pentacles, how do they feel? Well, they feel like they need to put some work in. It seems to me that your person is very busy with their lives, right? Eight of Pentacles, they're working on their lives. They're working on perhaps their job, a project, whatever it is they're busy with it. And it's almost as if, you want some attention for the relationship and they're unwilling to give it. And I think that one of the reasons that's happening is that they're like, look, I can't give you this right now because I have to work on this. I have to work on this. I have to get this money going. I have to get this job going, this project going, this business going. I'm just busy with it. And it almost feels as though you're kind of like, hey, I understand that. But why do I have to pay for that, right? So let's go a little bit deeper. Wow, there's that Eight of Swords again. Wow. So how do you feel about them? You know where they're at, right? You know that I'm going to say, you can see what's going on and they're kind of in a bubble, right? They're the ones who are kind of like inside their own head, inside of a bubble. And you're like, look, I can see that you're blaming everything on me. You're blaming everything on sort of your inability to come to this relationship. You're kind of blaming it on a lot of outside factors. And I can see that. Meanwhile, they continue to be sort of extremely busy with what they're doing. I'm going to say that you're dealing with somebody who's about their money right now. And it's frustrating for you because I think that the feeling I get here is that you feel as though, listen, you can be about your money and a relationship. Why does it have to be either or? And they're kind of like, nope, I can't. Right now, I have to do this. I have a lot of work to do. I have to reevaluate. I'm doing some reevaluation on my life and my objectives and my goals, right? And I just can't put any time and effort into this, right? And I think it's very frustrating for you. I think that as well, this Eight of Swords coming in twice in this reading definitely indicates, Leo, that, there's a feeling here where you're kind of like, look, can you just wake up and realize that these are the choices that you're making? Nobody's making these choices for you. Nobody's putting this pressure on you. So can you at least take responsibility for the fact that you're not choosing us right now? So how do you guys feel about the relationship? Well, you've gotten to the point. Listen, there's a bit of a splitsville here. You've gotten to the point where you're like, look, I'm done, right? I'm walking away. This has been a battle that I just can't continue, right? You win, right? It's unfair. You've been playing unfair. You've been blaming me for things that aren't really my fault. Pressure that you're under that has nothing to do with me. Pressure that you're putting on yourself. And so there may be a little bit of gap right now, a little bit of space between the two of you. How do they feel about the relationship? Again, Four of Cups indicates jives with the rest of this. They're just not willing to accept any kind of connection from you right now. They're not listening. They may be blaming, again, they're blaming you. I think there's a feeling here of them being under pressure, being under the gun, and maybe blaming you for some of it, even though, as I say, Eight of Swords lets you know that, it's only the way they are viewing the situation. They see pressure from the outside where there necessarily isn't any pressure from the outside, but pressure from within, right? Judgments, I want to say requirements, hang-ups, issues that they've put on themselves and somehow are projecting out. So you're dealing with somebody who's right now really kind of at a crossroads in their life, They may be dealing with some really heavy issues. And even though they're not taking responsibility for a lot of the results of their actions, nevertheless, they are going through something very, very hard right now, very hard to accomplish, whether it be in money or health, whatever the case is, it's still difficult, even though they're not taking responsibility. All right, so Seven of Cups is there. Yeah, there's some, you still have an expectation that this will all work out. For them, Nine of Wands again. So twice Nine of Wands has shown up. Once for them, once for you, twice Eight of Swords has shown up, right? So I'm going to do an extended reading on this because this gets a little bit deeper, right? But for you, you continue to have Seven of Cups energy. You continue to hope and wish for all of this to come together. It may be a little bit unrealistic right now. Seven of Cups can sometimes indicate unrealistic intent, aspirations, goals, right? Intentions. But yet they're still there. You still want this, that's how you feel about the relationship. If you're resonating with this, you still want this. You still believe that this can happen, right? Despite all of the evidence to the contrary, you guys may have had a very long running relationship that's been hot and cold and hot and cold. Again, oftentimes you bearing the brunt of the pressure. For them, as I said, Nine of Wands came in for them just as it did for you. They see the relationship as they feel the same way I think that you do. They feel like this relationship has really put them through it, and they're just tired. But Nine of Wands oftentimes is that stage where you're exhausted, you're tired, you're just about ready to give up, and then you push through. And this is why I love doing the clarifiers, because as we move ahead to the next steps, for them, we see Lovers. And just as they're about to give up, there's a feeling here that they see finally, hey, hang on a second. This is a partnership. This is something we're in together. There's going to be a breakthrough. And I think that's what I'm going to be talking about in the extended reading. What's the breakthrough here, right? That happens. For you, Eight of Wands, there's a lot that comes in very quickly. So a feeling here that towards the end of this energy, as you guys move through all of this, there is this breakthrough, and suddenly there is this avalanche of energy, communication that comes towards you from your person, right? I think it's going to be very unexpected. Eight of Wands is Mercury in Sagittarius, so it's a lot. It's a lot of fiery communication. It's a lot all of a sudden coming in. There's going to be some revelation, some kind of breakthrough here where I think you guys finally, and more or less your person finally wakes up to sort of what's been going on here and realizing that the strength is in your bond together. There's certainly love here. There's certainly love here. And at the bottom of the deck with that Ace of Pentacles, it indicates that there is a possibility, for sure, a strong possibility of a whole new beginning for you guys. This could be a long-term relationship that, as I say, has been on again, off again, but now it's just about to break through to a whole different way that you guys interact, a whole different chapter, a whole new chapter. And up until now, there's been resistance. Let's go ahead and get into the spirits of darkness and light. We're flipped over. Spirit of the crystal ball. Spirit of the child, and Spirit of enchantment. I love it. So Spirit of the crystal ball, future, predictions, divination. I think there is a feeling here for you that for a long time you realized that, there is a future for us. It will come in. I think you see signs of that. There may be omens coming in. You may be suddenly thinking about them. Sorry about the camera. You may be suddenly thinking about them. You may be suddenly getting sort of auspicious sort of signs coming in, reminding you of them. The two of you may not have been in communication for a while. As I say, there may have been a split. You may have been apart from each other as a result of some of these energies here. Spirit of the child. Innocent, immature, adventurous. Yes, there is an innocence here, an immaturity as well. And I think that that's one of the things they've been, exhibiting, an immaturity towards this relationship and understanding how valuable it can be for them in their work, in their objective. Again, this is the breakthrough that I think I'm going to be talking about in the extended. Spirit of enchantment, spells, right? Captivation, temporary. Right? So it almost feels like here as well, Leo, that, you may have felt that your person has been somewhat under some kind of spell, or not spell, but under sort of an illusion, right? That hopefully will break, right? That hopefully will crack and they can see the reality of what's really going on here between the two of you. All right, guys, I love this energy so much. Let's go ahead and pull out the zodiac signs because the energy is good. This is a relationship that absolutely has a new beginning in its future. But again, the breakthrough needs to come, right? So, what are some of you dealing with? Some of you are dealing with a Libra. Love it. Air energy. Air and fire oftentimes get along very, very well. Some of you Leos are dealing with a Leo, or certainly somebody who has Leo in their chart, their natal chart. And some of you are dealing with an Aquarius. So two air signs and your own sign, Leo, coming in strong. All right, guys, I am going to leave it at that. This was the love outlook for this week. Come to it whenever you come to it. These are timeless messages. I hope it resonated for you. If it did, sound off in the comments. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, go ahead over to the extended reading. The link is going to be right below in the description. And we're going to take a deep dive into what the breakthrough is in this relationship that finally brings the two of you back together for this new chapter. But for right now, thank you so much for letting me provide this reading for you guys. I love you all. Leo cross watchers, I wish you all love, life, and happiness. And I hope to see you right back here at Bow and Arrow Tarot for your next reading. Bye-bye now.